You're anchoring for a question, I think.
No.
Okay. If there are any, just throw them out.
Yeah.
I wasn't clear what you just said about whether both evacuation and firefighting have secondary supplies or just firefighting.
Both of them.
They do.
Both of them. Yeah. Only 20 minutes is the requirement for evacuation lifts, because basically what they're trying to do, and what to a degree the Regulatory Reform Act is asking the owners of the buildings to do, is to get those people out. Don't leave them there waiting for the fire brigade. It's your responsibility to try and get these people out of the building. And that's the bit in design, I'll pick it up in a bit, I don't think is happening.
Does it just go down and that's it? Once it's down, it doesn't go back up, I take it?
As an evac lift?
Yeah.
No, should be able to go
So
up and
it can
down.
keep going back as much as you need.
Well, there's no requirement for it to travel to certain floors in certain speeds or whatever. It's just, you've got it there, it's now available to use. But it's all controlled from in the car.
Yeah,
So whoever's on that evac floor puts in somebody in the car, they send them up. Yeah, they go and collect the disabled person, bring them back down again, do their stuff. So
Is it not interlocked with the fire alarm then?
it is. Yeah. So when we put the
You're
evac,
still going to do an evac
Yes.
switch, yeah.
so basically all that happens with 99% of the lifts, yeah, we send out a 24 volt signal, open pair. Yeah, so it's normally open. As soon as the fire alarm goes off, it's gone to closed. Yeah, put the key switch and we just break that circuit again. But it puts it in such a way that the landing calls stay isolated. It just goes to car call. Okay. So yeah, so the fireman's, that's the fireman's lift. You know, could be used by the fire brigade. Cannot be used for evacuation of fire.
Is it actually stated in EN 81-1? I thought it predated that. 7255.
It probably does.
65.
5588 and others.
Yeah.
Just
So the EN 81 is in 1998, which was after the time of the fireman's lift. So basically it predates fireman's lift is the design.
Yeah. All the old buildings are like. I'm sure if when we go downstairs, I'd be amazed if this doesn't have a break glass on above them. So yeah, so the evacuation lift in 8176, I say it's still in DD, so it's still under discussion, and it's been under discussion I think for about 4 or 5 years now as a document, and I think that reason is because of that statement about you don't need a secondary supply. I think most people are saying we're not accepting it because this is written by the lift industry. So it's the OTCs, the Connies, the Tissons and Schindlers of this world that are saying you don't need a secondary supply. I'll take a straw poll of the engineers in here tonight. How many of you would get in a lift without the secondary supply? Hands up. Yeah, none of you. But the lift companies believe that you should. Don't worry about it.
Why do I believe that?
Probably because the amount of failures that have happened is minuscule in real terms. But equally, there's probably no true statistics for it either. When I was at Trillium, the company I was at before I joined MV, we were looking after DWP and we had massive arguments with the unions about using lifts in the event of a fire alarm and so on. And they were adamant that we shouldn't allow them to be used. And we turned around and said, well, that's all well and good, but if we give you the clearance to do that, because in our belief the British standards don't, and somebody was trapped in one and somebody died in one, are you as the union going to come and stand in front of the man with the curly wing and say, it was our request and they agreed to it? No, you'd run a bloody million miles and say, they said that we could. So our answer was no. There was no statistic to prove whether it was the right thing or the wrong thing. I think what we all know as engineers is it was the wrong thing and we just stood our ground. Yep.
And sometimes people, confused is too strong a word, because if they see that the whole building has essential supply, then they say there's already a secondary supply. We've got a generator that will cut in if something fails. It's not the same thing as what this is talking about.
In my opinion, no, it's not. My opinion is that a secondary supply should come from a different route. Ultimately gets to the same piece of equipment. You should have a fire-rated machine room or a fire-rated lift shaft and everything else that goes with it. What they were asking us to do on DWP was to do that with any lift. Well, we didn't know what the fire ratings of the lift were. First off, if it was a new lift that was fully 2-hour fire rated and everything, we could say, yeah, your shaft construction, your doors, everything are there, are going to give you some level of protection. We might have said yes. but we couldn't. But they wanted carte blanche, so we just stood by our guns and said no. So a couple of bits that do move up with the evac lift. Yeah, 630 kg. The minimum size for a disabled lift actually is 6 persons, which would be 450 kg. We use 75 kg per person. But for an evacuation, they do ask, because obviously you've got to bring somebody else with them. So an 8-person is a disabled chair or a wheelchair and an assistant. So that's why they push it to 8 persons.
Well, that's going to be done on a risk assessment basis, hasn't it, really? The size of the lift car, I just did that designing a venue in Manchester that's got a theatre and a 5,000 seat venue attached to each other. And they're actually working on the evacuation of the people on it, and basing it on how many wheelchair positions on what floors, we know where they are.
Yeah.
It's also that, so it's down to the logistics of getting the people out. So you can't, so 8 person is very often a too smaller size, because wheelchairs are increasing in size.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Motorised, you won't get most motorised in an 8-person, that's for sure.
And the other thing, of course, is when people are going into a lift or a fire or an evacuation situation, they're actually not the best position to back out.
Yeah.
So it is something really has to considerable thought to it to get that application.
Absolutely. An example I can give you, which is totally out of the blue from this sort of thing, is I'm assuming lots of them watch Sports Personality of the Year. There's a company just down the road, Swallow EMP, mobility equipment, Greg Pons and his wife Julie. And for Sports Personality of the Year, they provide somewhere in the region of 40 evac chair, motorised varieties of evacuation facility and such like, because generally the big arenas and so on have got no way of coping for the amount of disabled people that turn up at Sports Personality of the Year.
It's an interesting point on actually wheelchairs within a 5,000 seat arena stadium. It's just an event venue, and to try and get the number of wheelchairs that will be in there, it varies enormously from 5% of the population attending to 10 to 15%. It's very hard to actually get a fixed number. So when you're designing an evacuation lift or evacuation strategy, getting the information on the theatre, they're easy. All the wheelchair positions are all marked. When it's an open venue, so you have right percentage. There's very little guidance on it. So you've got to involve people like the architect, not their input, because they have obviously designed various escape philosophies into it.
And evacuation lift 20 minutes, that's what we're looking at typically from a standby power supply, because they're tending to think that most buildings 2, 3, 4 people maybe, not high volume, so it's quite a low requirement.
Just in the evacuation strategy for Anfield, the football club new main stand, they've had 81 wheelchairs to evacuate, and the best time we get to was 23 minutes. But what we did as mitigating factors there, we had 5 protected refuges, and there were actually 5 firefighting lifts we used. And designed a strategy so when they lost the firefighting lift to firefighting purposes, they had 2 other lifts they could use. It was basically, it is again, there's 20 minutes to say it's inadequate. That was only a good example.
Now, let's whiz through. You'll all know about fire lobbies, you don't need to sit in there. So firefighting. So yes, that requirement 18 metres or more from the point where the fire brigade access. So in Glasgow, we looked at one last year. So what they did is they actually moved the position that the fire brigade were going to come onto the building, because it wasn't on Suckyall Street, but it wasn't far off. So the front of the building was at 24 metres, the back of the building was at 18. So they cheated and said, right, we're going to go in at the back. And therefore they got away with that to put a firefighter lift in. Ridiculous. Probably for the size of the building and what it was, it would have been £15,000 or £20,000 more. But they just found a way of getting around it and beating the regulations. But as you can see, we start to move up on the speeds. We must attain top level within 60 seconds. 1 hour fire rating everywhere. Secondary power supply for 2 hours duration. So it's a lot higher. And clearly the issue of water ingress. So IP65, everything is IP65 rated. Grates and